Now this is going to need 2 coats because it's not taking too well. So I'm going to just do that. But you really have to let it dry before you can put the second coat on there. So I'm just going to paint a section of it and I'm going to let it dry and we'll come back to it. And then we'll finish that one up. Okay. But I want to show you how adding a luster dust to a texture brings out the texture even more. So we're going to get, I'm going to start again with the white. And I'm going to do a tiny little clutch and I'm going to add some texture to it and then I'm going to add the luster to it and you're going to see how the texture is, you can kind of see it when it's just white, but how much more you can see it when it's actually luster dusted. So let me do this, a little clutch. I'm going to do like I showed you, just roll it out kind of flat. And this one I want to be a little rounded clutch, so I'm going to keep that kind of rounded shape. And then I'm going to do this one again, flatter, so it has the, and then I'm going to take my cutter and cut around to make this like that. Okay. Now before I fold it, I'm going to give it the texture like the Chanel. So I'm going to do, but I'm going to do these pretty close together. Like this. And then I'm going to go the other way. Like that. Okay. And then kind of lost a little of my texture here, so I'm going to put that, hit that little part again so they're in there. Then I'm going to take this part over and I'm going to flip it over, but I don't want this part to have the texture on it. I want this part to just look like it's been had a seam. So I'm taking again my little tool and I'm just going to run it along the top like this and it looks like it's been sewn. Paint it.
Pretty.
Yeah, so it gives it a little bit more, the pattern really starts to pop when you add a color to it. Now you can also paint these if you want to. Okay, okay, so I'm going to put that there. And now I want to do, I'm going to put another full, actually I'm going to do a little, no, those are too big. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to put a little pearl right there, a little drugee right there. Now that's a really pretty little purse, but I want to add a little tiny, tiny, tiny pink rose to it. That would be on the front. And these are called rolled roses. And these take practice. So if you're going to do this, don't get frustrated if you start and they end up looking like spirals, because I swear the first 50 I did ended up looking like spirals. But you want them to look, basically you're going to take a roll like this, a snake, and roll it out like that, and then you're going to flatten it a little bit longer. And then you're going to flatten it like that. Now this is the tricky part. And I want to get my fingers right in where you can kind of go close up. Tell me where I'm in there. Are we good? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to start rolling it, okay? And I'm rolling it in on itself like this. But as I'm doing it, I'm taking this finger and I'm kind of opening it. So it opens like that as I roll it around. And you can see it makes kind of a cute, just little rose. Like that. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's got a long point on the end. Right there, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So that's going to be, that's too big. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to cut that off right there. Cut that little point off. And so now it's got a smaller point. I still want it to be a little bit of a point to it because I want it to go into the purse so it actually sticks. So I'm giving it another, even though I cut it flat, I'm giving it another little rolling around, giving it another little point on the end. And then I'm going to take a toothpick and I want to put it right here. So I'm going to make a little hole in my purse right there because I want the little point to go into the hole, because otherwise if you just try to stick it flat on top, it's going to flop off. Then I'm going to take a little bit of water and I'm going to drop a little bit of water in the little hole. And sometimes with these tiny little things, it works for me. I take a toothpick and I'm just going to stab a toothpick right into the center of it. Can you see where I put the tooth?
Oops.
Are you counting how many times I'm dropping things?
Not yet.
Okay, don't start. So you can see how I put the toothpick right into the center of the rose. That helps me control where I'm putting it. So I'm going to put it right in there, and I'm just going to jam it right in. And then in order to get the toothpick out, I'm going to spin it.
Quickly.
And there, you see you've got your little rose on there.
Yay.